Hey guys, it's Miss Moeller. We are going to go over today's solve and share. So we are going to go over the solve and share for day 32. Now today we are working on perimeter. Now I know yesterday Ms. Patel made an awesome video showing you how to solve perimeter problems. So we're going to build off of what we learned yesterday. Remember, this is review, so it should sound familiar to you. Now if we're trying to find the perimeter of a shape, how can we find the perimeter of a shape? Right, when we try to find the perimeter of the shape, we are trying to find the distance around the whole shape. So we're trying to figure out, if we were to measure all the way around this rectangle, how many inches would it take to measure all the way around the rectangle? So the perimeter is the distance around the shape. Think of it like a fence, right? If this was your yard and we were going to put a fence around the outside, how many inches of fence would you need to fully fence in your yard so that your dog or your animal and your siblings couldn't get out, right? So if we're trying to find the perimeter of the shape, we need to know the distance of each side of the shape. So if we're trying to find the distance of the shape, we are given the length and the width of this rectangle, okay? If we're trying to find the distance of each side, what do we notice about this side that is 5 inches and this side that has no length written? Right, we know that this length and this length are equivalent, which means that if this side is 5 inches, that means that the opposite side is 5 inches. So if we apply that thinking to the width of our shape, we know that this side is 3 inches. They are equivalent in length, which means that this side is also going to be 3 inches. So now that we have all of our sides labeled, we have to show a way to find the perimeter other than taking a measuring tape and measuring it all the way across the shape. Okay? How could we do that? What is an equation we could use to solve that? Right, we can add up the lengths of each of the sides. So if we were to add up each of the lengths of the sides, we would have 5 inches plus 5 inches plus 3 inches plus 3 inches, right? So we have both of our lengths and both of our widths in our equation. We need to put our equal sign so we can find the total. Now, if I were going to solve this, I could make it a little bit easier. I could do it in my head and use some mental math, or I can use my little carrots and say that I know that 5 plus 5 is 10, plus I know that 3 plus 3 is 6, right? If I were to add 10 plus 6 together, I would get 16. But 16 what? We need to remember our measurement, because when we're doing perimeter, there's always going to be a measurement associated with our numbers that we're working with. So we're going to make sure that we write 16 inches around our total, because we know that our length and our width are measured in inches. Now, if it said millimeters or centimeters, it would be different. So I want to make sure that you guys pay attention to this measurement, okay? And that's how you would solve number 1. Number 2 says, Darla drew the parallelogram shown. Write and solve 2 equations that show how to find the perimeter. So we know that this shape is our parallelogram, which means that both the length and the width are parallel sides, which means they will never touch. So if she drew this parallelogram, using what we know from the example above, from our solve and share, how could we find the perimeter of this parallelogram? Right. If we know, thinking about our strategy for the question above, if we know that this length is 9 meters, this one is also going to be 9 meters. If our width is 3 meters, because each side is equivalent, we know that this side is also going to be 3 meters. So if we have all of our sides labeled, now that we have them all labeled, how can I find the total perimeter, total length around the entire shape? Right, I could write my first and second length, 9 plus 9, and my widths, 3 plus 3. Now, if I want to make it easier, just like up here, if I want to make it easier, I know that 9 plus 9 is 18, and I know that 3 plus 3 is 6. So now I'm going to give you a second. I want you to find that total, and when you're done, you can replay the video. Go ahead and pause and solve 18 plus 6, and then when you're finished, you may play the remainder and solve the problem. All right, welcome back. If you took time to pause the video, great job. I love that you all are working so hard. Now, I asked you guys to solve 18 plus 6. I know that 18 plus 6 is 24. Now, just like above, we need to make sure we write our measurements. So what did we measure each of our sides in? Was it inches, feet, centimeters, meters? It was meters. So I'm going to write my M here so I know what my measurement was. Okay? Now, something that's slightly tricky about this is it asks us to solve 2 equations, right? And solve 2 equations in order to find the perimeter. So this was our equation number 1. Our addition, our repeated addition. Now, if we were to try and solve a second equation, we could do something very similar to over here on the left. What we would do would we would write 9 times, how many 9s do we have? 2. So we could do 9 times 2, and then we could do also 3 times 2. So it's just a different way to express and write this same equation, right? Because we know that 9 times 2 is 18, and we know that 3 times 2 is 6. Then we would have to come down here and take our 18 plus 6, and we would have to add it together in order to get 24. So we come to the same conclusion, but it's just a different way to write it. It depends on how your brain works and what's easiest for you. All right, almost done. We've done our solve and share and our convince me. Now what we're going to do is we are going to show what we know, okay? This is the part where you get to demonstrate to your teacher what you know about perimeter. Now, our past 2 questions gave us a figure or a picture of the shape that we were going to find the perimeter for. This one, however, does not. So we have to use our brains and show what we know about perimeter in order to draw the figure, label it, and solve for the perimeter. I believe in you guys. We've done this before. We've done this in class. So let's go ahead and read the question. It says, Michaela drew a rectangle with side lengths of 4 feet and 8 feet. What is the perimeter in feet of Michaela's rectangle? See right there, it tells us in feet. So we need to make sure we use that measurement in our answer, okay? Let's go through and let's bracket our important information. We know that she drew a rectangle, okay? That's important, so we know what kind of shape we need to write. We know that the side lengths are 4 feet and 8 feet. So that means that the long side is going to be 8, the short side is going to be 4. So let's go ahead and draw that shape. My drawing is not beautiful, I apologize. But it doesn't have to be perfect as long as we can use it to solve our problem. So like I said before, the long side is going to be 8 feet, short side is going to be 4 feet. I'm going to switch the color of my pen just so it's a little bit easier for us to see. So if our rectangle is 8 feet by 4 feet, we're trying to find the perimeter of the shape. If we're trying to find the perimeter of the shape, we're going to find the total distance around the shape. Remember, just like a fence. So if I know that this side is 8 feet, this side is equivalent, so that means that this side is also 8 feet. Our width is 4 feet. We know that this side is the same length, and so our other width is going to be 4 feet. Now we have our sides written down. I want you guys to go ahead and solve, pause the video, and solve for the perimeter. When you're done, you can play the video and we will solve together. All right, guys, welcome back. So if you pause the video, great job. I love how hard you guys are working on this. This is our last problem. So if you were solving for the perimeter, you either would use one of the two strategies that we have shown you thus far in the video. You could add 8 plus 8 plus 4 and 4. To make this easier, I know that 8 plus 8 is 16. And I know that 4 plus 4 is 8. If I were to add 16 plus 8 together, I would also get 24. But 24 what? What is our measurement? Right, it's feet. So it would be 24 feet. Now, I want you to take a challenge. Now that we've solved this, I want you to try and find this is our first way that we have solved this problem. I want you to find the second way to solve this problem. Write your equation and then go on to your practice.